Hey everyone, I'm Sara, and today we'll be installing the AWE exhaust suite for the BRZ and GR86. In this video, we'll show you how to remove your stock exhaust and get the AWE system installed. For this video, we're using the Touring Edition, but if you have the Track Edition, the install is exactly the same. For this install, you will need an impact gun or a regular hand ratchet will work just fine. You'll also need 11, 14, and 16 millimeter sockets, the included Allen key, 12 and 14 millimeter wrenches, and an exhaust hanger removal tool. With that said, grab your 14 millimeter socket, ratchet, and a 12 millimeter wrench, and let's get started. Starting at the very front of your factory exhaust, grab your tools and remove the factory hardware. Keep in mind you will be reusing these. Now we're moving on to the other end of this mid-pipe, where we're going to disconnect it right in front of that large muffler. Now this is supported by a hanger right about here, but if you want to throw a jack or pole jack underneath it just to be safe, you can go ahead. Grab a 14 millimeter socket and a 14 millimeter wrench, and go ahead and get this hardware removed. Now that we have each side of the mid-pipe disconnected, we can get it removed from this hanger. We're using an exhaust hanger removal tool and a little bit of lubrication to slide that hanger out. And now we can remove that mid-pipe. Finally, we can remove the rear section. We have it supported with a pole jack for now. You can also use a regular jack. And what we're gonna do is remove it from each of the hangers. It has one at each corner of the muffler. Grab that hanger removal tool. Let's get these off. With all of your hangers removed, lower down the rear section, and let's get it out of here. With the factory exhaust out of the way, now we can get to the good stuff. We're gonna get the AWE system installed, starting with the inlet pipe. Let's get started. Now we can get the inlet pipe installed, using a pole jack at the back of it to hold it in place while we get the front lined up. The bolt and the spring slide in from the back side, and then you can thread the nut on the front side. Go ahead and leave that loose for now as we get the other bolt installed. Now we can get these bolts tightened down. Before we do that, you want to make sure this pipe is sitting evenly on the gasket. To be sure that it is, just take a look at the gap between these two pipes and make sure it's even all the way around. Grab your 14 millimeter socket and your 12 millimeter wrench and tighten it down. Next in line is the mid-pipe section. Grab that as well as a 3-inch clamp and let's get it installed. Before installing your mid-pipe over your inlet pipe, make sure your clamp is in place. Now you can get them lined up. Wiggle the mid-pipe in place and make sure it's fully seated on that inlet pipe. Now you can lift it up. Line your exhaust hanger up and get that fully seated. And just double check that the pipe didn't come out any farther and it's fully seated on your inlet pipe as well. Up next is the rear section. Again, we're installing the Touring Edition, but if you have the Track Edition, it will look like this and the install will be the same. Before you slide the rear section over the mid-pipe, go ahead and slide your clamp in place. Position the rear section over the mid-pipe. Wiggle it on until it's fully seated. And then we're gonna raise the entire exhaust up to where it's supposed to be sitting. And in the process, getting the hanger posts a lot closer to those hangers. Once you have your rear section in place, go ahead and install all 4 hangers. The final pieces of the puzzle are the tip outlets, tips themselves, and locking collars. Let's get them installed. As always, make sure you slide your clamp over top of your tip outlet section before you slide it over the rear section. Next up, what we're gonna do is start to line everything up and then snug down all of our clamps so that we can help line up our tips. Repeat that on the other side. Now that we have the tip outlets where we want them, you can tighten down the rest of your clamps starting at the front. Loosely install the hardware through the bracket on your tip and slide the tip over the outlet. Now there is a good amount of adjustability back and forth so you can get it exactly where you want it, and then we'll tighten it down. We recommend using hand tools to tighten your tip down. So go ahead and grab an 11mm socket as well as a ratchet and get this tightened down. Repeat that with your other tip. Now that your system is in place, take a second look, make any adjustments that you need, and then we can tighten down the clamps the rest of the way. Now we can get the locking collar installed over the hanger. Now because we have the Touring Edition, we're going for the rearmost hanger. The Track Edition, you will go on the forward one. Once it's slid in place, use the included Allen key to tighten it down. Repeat that on the other side. And there you have it, a straightforward install and you're ready to rip. For more information, dyno data, and to grab one for yourself, click the link down below. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Any questions, drop them in the comments below, and remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on what's next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.